there's a wise saying that goes like this: a real gentleman never discusses women he's broken up with or how much tax he's paid. Actually, this is a total lie. I just made it up, sorry. But if there really were such a saying, I think that one more condition for being a gentleman would be keeping quiet about what you do to stay healthy. A gentleman shouldn't go on and on about what he does to stay fit. At least that's how I see it. Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Bayan Book Show, where we discuss a book we've been reading together and consider how it's affected us. I'm Homa Lezgi, and what you just heard were the opening lines of What I Talk About When I Talk About Running by Haruki Murakami. Now, before reading this, I had regretfully read nothing by Murakami and knew nothing of his worlds, not the one he lived in physically, nor the ones he'd imagined in his novels. And he's written so many, he's so prolific. This book made me want to read him, and I have to admit, immediately after finishing this, I got my hands on the first Murakami novel I could find, which incidentally turned out to be Kafka on the Shore, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. And I was not disappointed. It was so different from what I was used to reading, and it reminded me why reading authors from all around the world is so fulfilling, how it broadens your vision and guides you into worlds you couldn't have even imagined. Now, back to our book. Here's a human who loves two things, it seems, above all else: writing and running, or words and movement, which is, when you think about it, what our world is essentially made of. So we become aware that Murakami runs for at least an hour every single day, and that he's been doing it for more than 30 years now. Why does he do this? Why is he writing about it? And is there a connection between his insatiable desire to run and his unstoppable urge to write novels? The answer to that last question is yes. For me, says Murakami, running is both an exercise and a metaphor. Running day after day, piling up the races, bit by bit, I raise the bar. And by clearing each level, I elevate myself. At least that's why I've put in the effort day after day to raise my own level. I'm no great runner by any means. I'm at an ordinary or perhaps more like mediocre level. But that's not the point. The point is whether or not I improved over yesterday. In long distance running, the only opponent you have to beat is yourself, the way you used to be. And that's the same approach he applies to writing. As well as expounding on his running adventures, Murakami also tells us how he became the world-famous writer he is today, deciding, apparently on a whim, to start writing a novel at his kitchen table late every night, and later on to sell the jazz bar he ran with his wife in downtown Tokyo and dedicate his life to writing. He tells us about his lucky break, winning a national award for his debut novel and riding the waves of popularity, critical acclaim and international renown, and all thanks to utter dedication to his craft. In fact, it seems it's that fierce determination to keep on writing novels for as long as humanly possible that actually persuades Murakami to take up running, as he turns from a writer sitting 4 to 5 hours at his desk with almost no exercise and smoking up to 60 cigarettes a day to a non-smoking, healthy-eating athlete who runs marathons and takes part in triathlons. You finish this book, and if, like me, you're a runner and also have ambitions to be published, you feel strangely satisfied on both accounts, because here's someone telling you honestly and openly that if you like something, if it suits you and you prioritize it and keep going at it, you're most probably going to get it done. If you do run or swim or hike or engage in any routine solo physical activity, you might just feel at a deeper level what Murakami means when he says that he sometimes pushes himself to the limit to heal the loneliness inside and to put it in perspective. All I do is keep on running in my own cozy, homemade void, my own nostalgic silence. And this is a pretty wonderful thing, no matter what anybody else says. And that's why I prefer to run alone. I think I learned that passage off by heart and repeat it to anyone who asks me why I don't run in a team or with friends. Homemade void, nostalgic silence, thank you very much. Right, what stands out in this memoir, what you keep seeing, is Murakami's insistence to be himself, to do what he wants to do in the way he wants to do it. It's precisely my ability to detect some aspects of a scene that other people can't, to feel differently than others and choose words that differ from theirs, that's allowed me to write stories that are mine alone. And because of this, we have the extraordinary situation in which quite a few people read what I've written. So the fact that I'm me and no one else is one of my greatest assets. Emotional hurt is the price a person has to pay in order to be independent. All through this book, whenever he talks about running, he's also talking about writing. Running, Murakami says, has taught him that though pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So, before we close this book, I have a fun question for you, and if you know the answer, you're in for a chance to win your very own copy. But first, if you've been following us from episode 1, you'll know that we began with Matilda by Roald Dahl and talked about how, as grown-ups, we can still benefit from children's literature. Today, we focused on a different genre altogether, a memoir in translation. And the next time, we're exploring a work of fiction I found particularly difficult to put down, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. As way of introduction, I'll just say that there are two major elements in the book: magic and 19th century England. Some have described it as Harry Potter for adults, and overall, it's the kind of cozy read I'm hoping you can indulge in during the Nowruz holidays. And now, here's your chance to win one of 5 copies of Murakami's book that we're giving away. Simply answer this question in the comments. Which animal makes a regular appearance, mostly of an enigmatic nature, in Murakami's books? Don't forget to tell us what you thought of this second episode of the Bayan Book Show and what books you'd like us to talk about on our future shows. Until next time, from me and our team here at Bayan Berter, Happy New Year and happy reading.